when you are angry, does it show on your body? Do you feel? Let's share. We're talking to the cause of depression now, before we now go on to the way, and I'm trying to be very practical. If you are angry, how do you feel in your body? In your body. Your face will. How do you know your face? Well, we are seeing your face, but in your own body, how do you feel? But if you are in love, how do you feel? That's why when people are in love, I know about the women anyway, even men, their skin, sometimes their skin begins to radiate. Just like this person, just they fine. What's up? Just they fine. And you say, yeah, it means the person I want to marry. Is it better? Yeah. Okay. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that depression is caused by all the chemical reactions that you allow in your body. You have a choice. You are angry. You allow your body to shake. You are frustrated. Let me go back to. Now, what do you choose? Look at this very well. Fear. I'll read it because some of you can't see it at the back. So you have a choice in situations that are upsetting you, because there will always be situations that upset you. People will upset you. Your colleagues, even at home, even husband and wife, don't you upset each other? Oh. So what do you choose? Fear, frustration, loneliness, anxiety, worry, depression, jealousy, envy, anger, resentment. All these emotions that I've mentioned so far also walk through your body. If you see somebody that you are annoyed, if you see somebody that you hate or that you resent, how do you feel when you see that person? Your heart to be shaking. Like me personally, if I'm angry, all my body will be shaking all over. I will feel myself shaking. And that's what's called self-awareness. Well, we talked about it in the other class, and we don't have time to talk about that here. So, or you choose courage, patience, connection, inner calm, hope, self-esteem, compassion. It's a choice. Now, depression comes around from when you allow all these emotions, frustration, loneliness, and then when you're anxious, how do you feel? When you're worried, who wants to help you? How do you feel when you're worried? In your body. Heartbeat. Some people can even be having tummy, high temperature, tummy issues, anxiety. Some people can even be sweating. Go to toilet. You are a very good student, and I didn't bring sweets. I'm supposed to give you sweets. Headaches. What's the cause of high blood pressure? Not only that, but where I'm going is that at the root cause of most diseases, right, is the way you process your emotions. Emotions are very vital because there are chemicals that run through your body, and there's a mind and body connection. There is a mind and body connection. Your mind plays a very important part. If you believe that something is bad in your mind, everything around you is going to be bad. If you believe that something is good, everything around you is going to be good. And it's very, very important in these days in which we are now, that our mental health has to be at par. Because there's so many things that can make you. Somebody said, I was at a training, and the person said, so many people are mad, but few are roaming. What does that mean? I never forgot. Said many people are mad, but few are roaming. So in other words, it's not those people that you see that are naked, and in each and every one of us, there is a tendency to be like that. If we do not make a choice. So you have a choice. Tell your neighbor you have a choice. So just as blood flows through your body, you have all those chemicals, and they carry the emotional signals. Now imagine what happens if, for example, now you are angry, or your body system changes. That one goes down. At 12 o'clock you are angry. That child did not understand what you were saying. The school owner called you and said rubbish. That parent called you on the phone and said, so you're angry, or you have headache. Then after that, your son, maybe you have a child in school, and then they call you from the child's school that this is it. Worry adds to it. What's happening again? It's sending something through your body, right? And so on like that. And then, for example, maybe you hold somebody in unforgiveness. Can anybody tell me how you feel when you think of somebody that you cannot forgive? Who can tell me? You have somebody that you cannot forgive. Somebody that you cannot forgive. How do you feel towards that person? Yes, ma'am. So only a few people are talking. Maybe I will go to the back. How will you feel? I hope you are not in unforgiveness. I hope you are not in unforgiveness. Because the way she's doing her face, exactly. Somebody said, thank you, ma. Thank you so much. So somebody said, unforgiveness is like drinking rat poison and expecting the other person to die. So the reason why some of us are depressed, or what can cause depression, is that you are living in resentment, you are living in anger, you are living in worry, you are living in fear, right? There's no love around you. All the emotions around you are not helping your health, and then before you know it, it begins to affect your mental health, which leads to depression. Now, depression has different stages. There's the mild stage, moderate, severe. But you know, and the severe stage is treated with, it's something that you just have to keep on maintaining. I mean, you have to keep on taking drugs. You don't want to get to that stage. That's why it's important. This kind of talk is important at this time, and especially in the economy. Before, you were spending 1,000 naira to get to your school. Now you're spending how much? Times. And the salary increase is not commensurate with that. Okay. So if you meditate on that, how do you think you feel? So when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? You feel sad. Oh, I'm going to that place again. How will this money be? And then the circle goes round and round. And so why do we fall into depression? Because your perception of the event, listen carefully, does not meet your expectation. The root cause of depression, 3 things, is that number 1, I must do well every time. Number 2, everybody around must treat me well. I must do well. That's what you mean. I must do well. Everybody. That's why I started by asking those questions. That all of us, because we were expecting that when you teach those children, they must pass. You expect that when you teach those children, the parents must call you and say, "Oh, Mrs. O, you're a very wonderful teacher. Oh, I love you. Let me come and send me your account number. Let me transfer some money." But they didn't transfer. What did they do? They called you and said, "My child is not even reading and I don't know what is happening. What are you doing? What are you doing in that school? And I don't know." And he talks to you anyhow.
And I paid so much.
And I paid so much. I hope you don't say that to me. You become disappointed, and then what happens? Tension. And one part of self-awareness is that you must be able to understand what makes you tick. For example, I know when I'm tensed up because I begin to have pain in my shoulders. All my body begins to ache. So if you allow that kind of system if you allow your system to be disrupted every time, it will cause a chemical imbalance in your brain. And that is where depression comes in. Now, what does mental health mean? Mental health means a state of well-being. A state of well-being between the problem with some of us is that we're too rigid. So we believe that, I'm going to talk about the thinking. We believe that everything should be this way. So if it's not that way, you are upset. But is Nigeria the way you want Nigeria to be? Is Nigeria the way you want Nigeria to be? Well, is the Nigeria that we want to be a Nigeria where $1 equals 1 naira? In Nigeria where £1 equals 1 naira. It used to be like that. And that's why you see some people just acting out. And like I said in the other class, sometimes we need to just cut some people some slack. The parent that you think is not thankful, is not grateful, the school owner like saying is also passing through his or her battles. Everybody is fighting a battle that you do not know. Tell your neighbor that. Everybody is fighting a battle you don't know. All of us are fighting one battle or the other. It's just our ability ability to manage those battles that differ. And that's why you see, especially business owners and whatever, as they get older, they begin to develop high blood pressure because of overthinking and thinking. So there's a mind-body connection linking our thoughts and attitudes. So when you cannot say you are totally well until your mind, your mind and your body are in atonement. So is your mind in atonement? What is going on through your mind? What is going on? Some of us, as we're here, we're not here. So I want to tell your neighbor, be here. Yeah. Be here. Yeah. That's another cause of depression, because your mind is in 15 different places. School is resuming on Monday. How am I going to pay the children's school fees? They did not increase my salary. Oh, what's going to happen? I've not done this. I've not done that. And then the voices go on and go on and go on and go on and go on. The ones that are in extreme cases, like I said, are the ones that are roaming. And there's a thin line between following completely and being okay. And that's why we have to mind our health. And you know, teachers are very, very important, because we mold the generation, the future generation. Nobody can pay a teacher. Even if you're earning 1 million, it's still not enough, really. Because the work that a genuine teacher, or not a teacher that is just counting time. Some teachers will say that it's just a stepping stone. Stepping stone, 5 years. Stepping stone, 10 years. You are still stepping the stone, 15 years. You will not people settle down and think about how you can build your life in this profession. I don't know if I'm talking to anybody. They didn't send me to say that one, but I'm just telling us. So now look at this chart. The things you need to be able to differentiate between the things you can control and the things that you cannot control. The major reason why you are fighting depression is because you are focusing on the things that you cannot control. Now, what are the things that you can control? Your attitude, your effort, your behavior, and your actions. But you cannot control another person's actions. You cannot control another person's feelings. You cannot control another person's opinions. You cannot control another person's mistakes, and you cannot control adversity, because life is in shades. Do you understand? The major problem many of us have is that we want to control everything. E.g., can you control the rain? It was raining in the morning now. Were we able to control it? So this is what some of us do, because you want to have an event and it's now raining and you are looking at all the chairs. You now begin to fret. You are annoyed. Nobody can talk to you. You are just tensed up. Why? Because it's raining. Can you do anything against that rain? Answer the question. Can you do anything against it? So when we're talking about teaching and depression, I'm not going to talk about only your own the teaching alone. Maybe there are some things that you are here now, like I said, many of us are fighting battles. There's some things you really cannot share with anyone, and there's no way to not come and affect your teaching. In the other class I said, if you are married, why are you married? If you are single, why are you single? Some people, because they are a particular age and they are still single, they are sad, and so it comes to depression and it begins to affect them. I once had cause to coach someone. She was misbehaving. Other teachers did not understand why she was behaving that way. But because of my own training and orientation, I had a talk with her. And I discovered that the person she was supposed to, that earlier on in her life, right, when she was younger, she was supposed to travel abroad. Listen carefully, she was supposed to travel abroad, but because of love, she now told her then fiancé, she told the person to give that person the opportunity, believing that when he goes there, he will do what? But he jackpot and did not remember her. And so it entered her. Do you understand? And so because of that experience, she began to misbehave. She began to misbehave and misbehave and misbehave. But seeing her, you will not understand what she's going through. And then maybe so some of us are here like that. You've had different kinds of experiences. You have some experiences in your past that are bothering you. All of us that were here were shaped in different ways. My family background is different from your own, right? Some ladies were raped when they were younger. And so they begin to hate men. They don't want to get married. There's childhood trauma. So all of us here were formed by the way we were brought up. So you have a choice. Either you allow the negative circumstances of your past to help you to move forward and determine that I will not be that way, or you dwell on it and then it becomes depression and it affects your work. So what is your choice? Now, now we're going to talk about the way forward now. That's why we talk now. In each and every one of us, we have a subconscious and a conscious mind. Listen carefully. And the subconscious that we don't know, things that we do not remember, there's some things that happen to us in childhood you don't remember, but it's affecting you and it's affecting your mental health. That's why you need to take time to go through. In coaching sessions and therapy sessions, there's a whole lot. Now let me talk about unforgiveness, for instance. There was a particular case of a woman, she just started losing her hair. Because all these things are closing, she was losing her hair. And what was the problem? And then during the coaching session, it was realized that she was still in unforgiveness towards her husband. And so her hair was falling off. Her hair was falling off. And then she was coached and everything to have positive feelings and all. And then her hair began to grow back. You might be laughing, but it's a fact. There are many things that have happened to you in your past that you have even forgotten in your conscious mind, but in your subconscious it's affecting you, and that's why you are tilting towards depression. It's not necessarily the teaching, it's not necessarily about the school, it's not necessarily about the school owner, it's about you, those things that you have experienced. Now let me give you an example of what subconscious can do. So I remember when, I don't want to mention names, but there was a particular scandal of a young woman that was talking about how her pastor raped her some years back. And then when she was now married, she now, summoned up courage to talk about it. I just discovered that I was very, very annoyed. I was taking it personally. If I was about to say something, I was like, what do you mean? You don't understand. It's very wrong. Because he was like, why should she bring it up? And I said, she can't bring it up. I was very, but I did not know why. Until, I think I was delivering a session like this. And then it just clicked me. It just struck me why I was so annoyed and angry about that matter, even though I didn't know both. I was very annoyed. I did not, even anytime they're discussing that matter, I would be very annoyed that why should you do that? And I remember that. Now, listen to how some childhood experiences shape you, so that you know that the depression that you might be going through or be tilting towards might not necessarily about the school, might not necessarily about teaching, but because you are in teaching now, the circumstances are affecting you, and you are making a choice by allowing the circumstances to affect you. So it just struck me, and I remember that during my youth service, right, I served in Akwa Ibom. So, and I was a young copper, I wasn't this fat anyway, I was very small. So there was a particular teacher there, because he was in a school. So there was a teacher there, I looked up to him so much, I used to call him uncle. And then he was the chaplain of the school. It was a federal school, was like the chaplain. And so as a Christian copper then, so and in a strange environment, in a village and all. So I looked up to him and all. So it was like, should I say, I looked at him as like a spiritual father, right? So one day I was going to see my friend in another town. And so he offered to give me a ride. And so while we were in the ride, he was busy trying to touch me, doing so many things. I was just shaking that, look at this person, and then to top it all, I shan't manage because I couldn't jump out of the car in a strange that I was shocked. You can imagine how old was I then, my early 20s and all. And so he now even asked me that he thought that as I was going to Eket then, as I was going to sleep in his house. I was like, but I couldn't tell anybody. That's what childhood tried. I could not until I just started sharing the story 2 years ago. I couldn't tell anybody why, because I was too hot within me. Because I was like somebody I'd looked up to in Christendom, and even at the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship then, he was high up. So I did not know that incident still remained in my subconscious and was affecting my reaction. Do you get where I'm going? So some of us, maybe when you were being brought up, your parents, never said thank you or never said sorry to you. And so as you are now a teacher, the parent, or you are expecting your parents to say sorry to you in the form of the school owner or the parents of the child. Do you get where I'm going? So now, what's the way forward? We've seen some of the causes of depression, that is chemicals, bad experiences and all that. But we've seen again that is a choice. You have a choice. Tell your neighbor you have a choice. Even as right now, I happen to be a school owner, I'm a teacher, I know what school owners are facing and everything. All of us are in it together. Teachers, you want your salary to be increased, Abby? Abi? School owner too. Is expecting school parents are not ready to pay. So what's going to happen? So if both sides, if we the school owners are not careful and the teachers are not careful, we'll be fighting each other. Are we each other's enemies? Answer me, oh. Are we each other's enemies? But if you read some things that teachers say about their writers on social media, there was one time I was in a group. I was in a group. I left that group, Facebook. As I opened, the first thing the teacher said, may it never, and very bad English, may it never be better for any school owner here. I said, okay, what is this? May it never, teachers, we need to be careful of this wilderness mentality. It's a wilderness mentality, and if you continue having such bitterness towards your boss, it will enter your head. That's how colo starts. No, seriously, that's where depression. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I said, there's mild, moderate, and severe. So when it becomes severe, you have to be on medication. But let's be talking to ourselves here, because everybody has a tendency. Because by the time you hate somebody so much, you hate that person so much, you don't want to see that person. Who are you hurting? Thank you. So now let's go to the way. The previous slide says that the way forward, what we think about will affect the way we feel and will affect what we do. Your thoughts affect your feelings and it affects your action. Thoughts, feelings, actions. When you think that something is bad, you feel bad and you probably not do something good. So now let's go for what's the way you think, because negative thinking leads to depression. Number one type of thinking that we think, we're going to examine the way we think, and I want you to be very sincere. Number one is all or nothing thinking. What does that mean? That means that the person who has all or nothing thinking believes that life is either black or white. So if this thing is not black, no story. If this thing is not white, no story. And then he begins to meditate on that this thing is not black. Why should it not be black? He has forgotten that there is gray. Black, the mixture of black and white is what? Are we here? The mixture of black and white is what? Gray. You have forgotten, and then you know that for we women, how many shades of green do we have? How many shades of green? We have army green, bottle green, keep green, mint green. How many shades of blue do we have? Royal blue, indigo blue, everything blue. But if you as an individual, navy blue, sky blue, royal blue, powder blue, this indigo blue. So that shows us. So is life black or white? So does it mean now that if something doesn't happen the way you want it, does it mean it is bad? Does it mean you cannot try another way? So some people have already decided that this is the way it must be. You know, I said depression is caused by three things. I must be okay. I must be treated well. Everything around me must be the way I want it, but it doesn't work that way. Another thing again is overgeneralization. What does that mean? If, for example, now, you have a parent in your class, a parent of some of the students in your class, is very saucy, let me put it that way. Then you tell yourself, all parents are saucy. Or maybe you work in a particular school, and the school owner there don't pay salary. When they're not talking about school owners, you say, all school owners, they are terrible people. They don't pay salary. Do you get what I'm saying? Anybody who thinks that way cannot be happy, because it's not possible that everybody can be the same way. Is it possible? No school can be the same way. Or maybe you worked in a college, and in the college they have a particular kind of rule that not go well with you. So you say, I will never work in a college again, because in colleges, this is what they do. You overgeneralize. This is the way it is. You have forgotten that life, everybody is unique. Everybody has their own specific thing. Now the next one is the negative mental. I hope I'm not going too fast, because I want us to interact. I hope I'm not going too fast. Then we have the other one, the negative mental filter. What does that mean? There's some people, if you tell them, you're telling a a story, right? You're telling a story, the story has the good, the bad. They will not hear that good part, it's the bad part. They will not hear the bad part. They will not hear the good part because their brain, their minds have filtered out the negative. In the same way when you're talking to your students in class, do you generalize and say, e.g., some people can even say that. An example of negative mental filters is when you say that all women, what should I say? When you say that all women like money. No.
Yeah, that's why it's all men are cheating. All men cheat. That's an assumption.
All men cheat.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Do all men cheat?
No.
I heard, in fact, somebody said these days, go and do DNA for your children because these days, all women have illegitimate children between, is it all? So what I was talking about negative mental filter. So we are saying a story. Somebody who has that kind of terrible thinking, we only hear the bad thing. When you're talking, you only hear the bad thing that bad thing that we never hear the good thing about the person. And it happens to those people who don't like gossip. Some people like choo. Because, and you know, it's so interesting that bad news. Let somebody do something good. If you do something good, nobody will hear. But go and do something bad. On social media, if you want to trend, what will you do? Just go and remove your clothes. Wear brown pants. And be twerking. You will get many likes. Is that okay? Is that an okay? Okay, the next one, jumping to conclusion. Okay, the person is still talking to you. He's still trying to explain. You've already gone ahead and said this is what I'm saying. The person is still trying to explain to you so that, okay, so we're going to move this chair here. Then you put number 1 chair, number 2 chair. You say, you're telling me to be carrying chair. That's it. Meanwhile, the person is telling you that move the chair so that you can sit down. But you have not heard that the person is saying, move this chair so I can sit. Do you get what I'm saying? And some of us, we jump into that kind of conclusion. Sometimes we don't know as teachers, and I'm talking from the perspective of a school owner now and a head. I've been in both shoes and I'm still a teacher. Maybe I'm teaching now, sir. I've been a teacher all my life. I've gone through all the cadres. And I always say that you don't know sometimes that your head might just be testing you to see how you will react to certain things. You don't know. And another thing again that many of us don't know is that you need to be able to adapt yourself to whatever situation you find yourself in. That's about this jumping to conclusion thing. When I was teaching in the service, I taught in Lagos State for some time. We had a principal. That's our principal. And she's not the one paying her salary, it's the government. When she comes like this, you say you better remove the cotton wool that you put in your head that's making you deaf, that's not making you hear, that's not making you listen. She will talk. People were, for me, what I did was I intentionally understood her. She loved me so much. Because when I was transferred from the school, she went to test company that she doesn't want me to go. Why? Because I came down to understand her. So some of us, that's just by the way, but some of us that you have already jumped to the conclusion that your boss is a wicked boss. Could it be the way you are treating that boss? Could it be the way you are carrying yourself? Could it be that you are not understanding what exactly that boss means? You have already jumped to the conclusion that this is the way school owners are. You have jumped to the conclusion that there's no story, I don't want to hear. This is the way they're supposed to do it. Let's move on. Rigid thinking, that's part of rigid thinking. If you want to move far in life, you have to be flexible. It is not compulsory that you can see that before. I don't think we've ever had a class here in TOSSE. But when they wanted to have it, TOSSE used to be 2 days, but now it's 1 day. A rigid person will say, since they know that they cannot do it for 2 days, I cannot come for 1 day, so I'm not coming. Rigid thinking. when you believe that this is the way it must be. It is the flexible person that has the most options. So you have to be flexible. Remember the times of COVID-19. Did you know we could be teaching online and talking to children online? Whoever thought about it? Whoever thought? And even in churches, for those of us who are Christians, before COVID, whoever thought that we'd be having prayer meeting online? I still had a vigil online. Yes, did you ever think about it? So, but someone that is rigid will say, I will remain. And if you are rigid, you will not grow and you will not be happy. Personalization. When you believe that, I'm talking generally now. I did not mention anybody's name. In fact, I told my own story. So somebody who has that kind of thinking will say, she's talking about me. She's talking about me, and that person will begin to hate me and say she's talking or they are just talking generally about everybody. You say they're talking about me, or something happens. It's not your fault, but you keep on telling yourself, it's my fault. It's my fault. The child that did not do well in your class, you tried your best. That's for those who tried their best too. But you know you tried your best. So it will lead to depression and bad ways if you continue to think it is my fault. Do your best, right? And leave the... So you need to learn to reframe your thoughts. And then self-talk. There are always many voices inside our head. How do you talk to yourself? Because the way in which you talk to yourself, when you wake up in the morning, look at yourself and tell yourself good things. I'm beautiful. I'm handsome. People love me. Tell yourself, but some of us, what we tell ourselves are very ugly. My stomach is big. My head is big. Oh, why do I have this mark? Oh, why do I have I have a flat nose and I'm proud of it. Because that's the way God created me. Self-talk. But some people can be looking at those people who have Oyinbo nose. And when I don't have Oyinbo nose in God, does that make me any less of a woman or human being? So what I'm trying to say is watch your self-talk, the way you talk to yourself. Words are more than just words. Words are full of emotions. If you wake up every day and say, I can't do this, I am useless. Oh, you make a mistake, say useless, you cannot even do anything. Why don't you frame those words and say, from I can't, you say, I can do that. It's not possible, it is possible. How do you talk to yourself within yourself? Many of us, we feel inferior because we're talking to ourselves in a negative way. How do you talk to yourself? What is your self-talk? Sometimes you've made some mistakes. You need to learn to forgive yourself. Some of you have made some mistakes in the past, even as a parent and generally in every area of your life. You need to learn to forgive yourself and be kind to yourself. I want you all to give yourself a big hug. I mention your name and say, I love you. I love you. Tell yourself, I love you. Because if you don't love yourself, nobody's going to love you. Me, I say it everywhere I speak. I love myself. I love myself so much. I'm confident. Listen, you have to be confident in your own skin. If you are not confident in your own skin, different things around the world will weigh you down. You will always see somebody that is prettier than you, slimmer than you, more beautiful than you.
Shorter than you, uglier than you.
Shorter than you, uglier than you, more knowledgeable than you. So speak good things. Wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Oh, I'm really, really very beautiful. Wow, and you look at yourself again. If some women, especially women, we suffer a lot from that. Low self-esteem because of the way we tell ourselves. My hair is not growing. My hair is short. My hair is big. Like some people say I'm too short. Short people have inferiority complex, so they want to show. Tall people want to put themselves down. And I've always been wondering why is it that men who are short marry big women? Have you noticed?
Yeah.
That's just by the way, that's not part of the talk. So let's move on to the next one is meditation. What does meditation mean? It means taking time to meditate. And you ever take some time, especially in this Lagos, we have Wahala, we're always running about. Can you take time, maybe in the middle of the night or in the morning, just meditate? And how do you meditate? You don't allow any overthinking thoughts to affect you. A way in which you can meditate, if you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever, is meditate on the words of the Bible. Have something good that you are thinking on. Meditation just means thinking about something. Take time to meditate and be still. That's why even in the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. Your mind cannot be running around in 10 circles and you'll be okay. You will not be able to do anything, and it goes to your brain, it goes to your mind, it affects your mental health. Meditation means waking up in the morning or at every time. Take breaks from your busy day sometimes. Just to breathe in. Everybody breathe in. Out. Again. Out. We're going to do that 3 more times. Breathe in. Out. Breathe in. Out. How do you feel? No, don't lie. How do you feel? I do that a lot because being a leader, that I have a lot of heads that I'm accountable for. My head must be correct. So I breathe in, especially when there's tension. And then you can also add it and say, I breathe in peace. I breathe out whatever you want to breathe out. I breathe in love. I breathe out hatred. Listen to the way you breathe, because in our breath, I don't have time to go into all that, but in our breath is life. Your breath is life. For people, when a baby comes to the world, what do? They slap baby's bum and baby breathes out, right, and begins to cry. But when a person wants to die, what does he do? He takes the last breath and he goes sleep. Okay, quickly we're moving on. Spirituality. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. As human beings, we consist of our spirit, soul, and body. And our spirit is very, very important. Our soul consists of our mind, will, and emotions. You have to be conscious of what you are feeding your soul with, your mind. Stop feeding your mind with all the negative things happening on social media. The news. When you wake up in the morning, you open your phone. You say, what's happening in the news? Somebody has killed somebody. Somebody has kidnapped somebody. One very sad story I wanted to affect me about how bandits went to a school and they killed a newly wedded husband and wife. If you continually meditate on that one, it will affect you. Now, spirituality, where spiritual beings having a human experience. So when I'm talking about spirituality, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about connection to a higher source than you, because you did not come to this world just as your own. As a child of God, as a born-again Christian, I connect to God, right? I connect to God. Okay, premium delegates, please come to the coordinator stand for a brief info. Premium delegates, please come to the coordinator stand for a brief info. Okay, so we're spiritual beings having what? Having a human experience. And so you must be conscious of your spirituality and find something that connects you to your spirituality. It could be the word of God, it could be the Quran, whatever it is. Because it is the spiritual that can, not religion, no. I'm not talking about going to church. I'm not talking about going to the mosque. I'm talking about the inner connection that you have with a higher being that will keep you sane in the midst of difficult circumstances. That's why in Nigeria, we like VG, we like church, isn't it? Because that's what's keeping us. You know that? Do you know that? Or else I'm wondering how we're all coping in this Nigeria. Then laughter. Everybody laugh. Now, how laughter is very important. There's something I do. I take time to watch comedies. You can watch comedies and intentionally go and watch some of us go. This life, while I know they finish, you know. So you need to take time to laugh and smile. Okay, smile at your neighbor. Smile, smile. Smile. This life is just one. Oh, smile. Are you smiling? Okay. Now, in conjunction with that, also comes to the fact that, you know, you need to make yourself happy. What are the things that make you happy? Like I always tell in our school, I always tell them regularly that sometimes when you collect your salary, don't quickly be thinking about NEPA bill. NEPA bill will always come, Abi. NEPA bill. What other bill? So sometimes, you know what you will do? Take yourself to an eatery, buy something. Yeah, I do it, oh. Because you will spend that money on pepper, on my child's shoe, yes or no. But some of us will take life so seriously. So immediately you are collecting your salary, you'll be shaking. Oh, when will salary come? Immediately salary come. In this Nigeria self, no money that you have that will be enough. So you need to make yourself happy. If it's to do your hair that makes you happy, if it's to go shopping, me, I take myself out. You know, I told you that I love myself so much. I take myself out. There was a day, so many years, and my husband never ever repeated it again. So many years when we were younger, he told me he was too busy. He couldn't take me out on my birthday. You know, that's a grave offense that time. Me, I took myself out. I took myself out on my birthday because it's my birthday. We women should stop looking, and even men, stop looking at other people for validation. Don't look at your husband, don't look at your boss. Be complete in yourself. That's where your mental health can be okay. Is that clear? So write it down. How are action points? Where am I taking myself to? What am I doing for myself? Then get a good, reliable support system. Support system is very important too. Support system is very important. Don't be a lone ranger. In your school, or maybe in your church or whatever, there must be somebody. Don't just say, I want to be in my little corner. There must be somebody that you can talk to. Like, yes, somebody that you can talk to. Although some people say if I tell people my story, they will go and tell the whole world. That's their problem. But get a good, reliable support. So people that can tell you good words. People that can be there for you. People that can listen to you rant. If you are not feeling okay, I just want to rant. And you can call them and say, do you know the way I'm feeling and this. And I want to also insert a note of caution, especially for those of us who are leaders here. As you go higher in the leadership hierarchy, it gets very lonely. It gets lonely because you'll be looking, who are you going to talk to? They will say, is it not madam? And I know how that feeling of loneliness is. I was telling somebody, I was interviewing someone and she said, I should call her Mrs. something. I said, right now, nobody calls me by my name, Motayo. Nobody calls me. So when I hear my name, I'm happy. What does that teach you? There's loneliness as you go older. So you have to, as you go higher in leadership. So make sure that you get a good support system. It doesn't have to be 10 people. It doesn't have to be getting. Like now, I was telling a friend of mine that we went to school together, we've been friends since we were 16, and we are old now and all that. So I now told her, I said, all of us, we have hustled and hustled. Now, we're all coming back together because we've seen that it's the old friend that knew us when we were nothing. And as we are moved through the world, we have hustled and hustled, gained all the accolades, everything. Everybody say, man, this is man. But your old friends, now they know who you are. You cannot form in their presence. They know where you're coming from. They know your story, right? So get a good support system. I don't know what your support system means to you. Then gratitude. We're rounding up now, and I'll take questions. Gratitude. Gratitude is key. Let us remember to always be grateful. The reason, one way in which you can recover from depression is to look around you and be thankful. Are you in the hospital? Are you using a catheter before you can urinate? You can go to the toilet yourself. You have eyes. Listen very carefully. Things we take for granted. You have two eyes. How many? Is there anybody here who doesn't have two eyes? You have two eyes you can see, you have two ears you can hear, you have a mouth you can speak. I said you should get up, you got up. You are not that we are looking down at those who are in the wheelchair. They also have a lot to thank God for. But we always forget, in the midst of so many things, we concentrate on the bad things that have been happening. I want to challenge you, because I know you've not come to waste your time. Get a gratitude journal. I have a gratitude journal. I write out those things that I'm grateful for at the end of every day. If I don't do it at the end of the day, I do it like 2 or 3 days. Write it down. It's almost full. Silly things. I'm grateful that I was in school today. I'm grateful that the teachers are well. You have? I'm grateful that I have a job. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Exactly. Teachers complain a lot. Oh, what did I just do now? Overgeneralization. That's what I thought you would correct me. It's not all teachers that complain a lot, but some teachers complain. You keep on complaining. complaining about that school, thank God you have somewhere to go to. That job that you're complaining about, if some people could have it, they will go and do Thanksgiving in church. No, it's a fact. We always forget. Thank God. Thank God that you are even in TOSSE and you are getting all this information. Majority of us are getting this information for free. Let me tell you, this kind of information that we're sharing now costs a lot of money to share. But we're just doing it for the education sector because I am also an educator. But for those who are not educators, they will not just come and share all this. There is a lot that's involved in all this. Gratitude, tell your neighbor again. Gratitude is key. There are always things to be grateful for. Today we're grateful for the weather. I am grateful that I can stay here and impart knowledge. I'm grateful, don't laugh. I'm grateful that I came here in high heels, but I have sneakers to change too. Because I saw that I cannot be doing shakala on this, so I came prepared. So I'm grateful. Listen, that's the way I do my own gratitude. It sounds funny, isn't it? You must never take things for granted. So I'm grateful that I have this pair of sneakers that I could change to. Okay, comparison leads to despair. Stop comparing yourself with another person. The grass always looks greener on the other side. Never compare. The Bible says that they compare themselves by themselves are not wise. We all, like I said, we have to look at that person in working in that other school. That other school, they're paying 1 million. Me, I'm working here, they're paying me 200 naira. They compare. The husband is this, the wife is this. That stop comparing. Be intentional about sleeping. But I will say that last. Now, journaling is also, when I talked about the gratitude journaling. Journaling is very important. What does journaling mean? You will write down any rubbish that comes to your mind. Sometimes you don't have anybody to talk to. So just write down. You want e.g. I'm even feeling silly now, but I don't know how I'm going to. By the time you write and write and write, ideas will come to you. But some of these things look foolish, but it works. Then lastly, be intentional about sleeping and your sleep environment. At least you must learn to sleep. Some people don't sleep. And when they say they are sleeping, their mind is already counting the NEPA bill, the school fees, the lesson notes. But their minds are there. Be intentional about sleeping. Imagine you don't sleep for 2 or 3 days, you'll not be okay. So what is your sleep environment like? What is your bed like? Be intentional about the place where you sleep. Don't let it be a scattered place. Don't let the place where you sleep be a scattered place. Even if it's one room you are living, arrange it neatly. Make it centered so that you can sleep well. Don't let your environment be scattered. Now, as I round up, listen to this carefully. A story said a chief is talking to his tribe, right? About 2 dogs inside his mind. One is a white dog, one is a black dog. So one dog is good and courageous, the other one is vengeful and angry. And both these 2 dogs are fighting. And then one of the people in the audience asked him, which one are you going to feed? Which one will win? He says, which is it the good dog that will win or the bad dog? And the chief responds and says, the one I feed. The moral of this story is that in your mind, there is the voice of negativity and the voice of positivity. Which one are you going to give attention to? If you give attention to the one that is negative, what's going to happen to you? Depression. If you listen to the one that is positive, what happens to you? Good things. So which dog are you feeding? And as I round up, I want you to know, excuse me, calm is something that you go after. Listen carefully. Calm is something that you go after, but stress is always running after you. There's stress now. Even as I'm talking here and I'm fanning myself, is it not stress? There's always stress. When you're going home now, there might be traffic on the way. When you are going, as you are thinking about Monday resumption, there's always stress. Stress goes after you. But you have to intentionally look after calm and quiet. Intentionally look for calm, look for peace. And that peace can only be God's. Where? Is it from your...
Inside you.
Inside you with God. But leave God now. Inside you. Because God has to even talk to you.
Yes.
Stop looking for the parent did not appreciate me. The school owner did not appreciate me. I've been teaching and teaching. These children are very rude. Calm is something that you search. and you search through all this spirituality, meditation I talked about, and then set your intention to feel what is best and beautiful within you, because you have great things on the inside of you. All of us have great potential. You have not reached the potential, so don't allow overthinking to destroy your future. Don't be comparing yourself. And some of us don't want to go to old school, students association, because you don't want to go and feel inferior. They will say, I'm just a teacher. This. I remember when I just started teaching, my friends that went to school together then, they were lawyers, they were all of them. They will be asking me, Motayo, are you still teaching? Are you still teaching? So one day I went and I said, why are you asking me if I'm still teaching? Are you still a lawyer? Are you still? That was the last time, and I'm not lying. Because they were asking me, one was a pharmacist, one was a lawyer, another one was working in the civil service. So what's the big deal? I said, but are you still teaching? And I said, but are you teach? I said, yes, I'm still teaching. Are you still a lawyer? Are you still working? That's the way you should reply. But some of them will say, yes, I'm still teaching. I'm still teaching. Excuse me? You carry yourself with pride. If you do not carry yourself with pride and blow your horn, nobody's going to blow your horn for you. So if anybody asks you, are you still teaching? Say, yeah, you answer, are you still doing what you are doing? And if you are doing what you are doing, why would I not be doing what I am doing? Yeah. But because some of us look at the teaching profession as, that was before, teachers are doing great things internationally now. So lastly, you will accomplish great things beyond your expectations. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much. So I think you can take questions, right? So this is so I'm on IG as Motayo_Iyiola, and I'm on Facebook as Motayo, not without the.
I remember during COVID, I started feeling like I was depressed, so I got into writing.
Can you hear her?
I got into.
Let's listen. We learn from questions.
I had some jotter, then I got into writing. So while writing, it gave me some relief. Now, at that point, I was working for my boss as a PA then, so she asked me to move to her place. So there are some certain things she was doing as at that time. I couldn't face her to tell her, so I wrote those things down in my jotter. And then later on she found out jotter, she read them, she was really angry, and that got me to stop writing.
Okay, so what's the question?
What do we do when we start having, should we keep our journals?
You keep your journal to yourself, or you can write it in shorthand that nobody will understand. You understand?
But it's fine.
You are the only one that can.
You know, so many
That's a private.
yeah, but so many people condemn this that I shouldn't have written.
No, you can write instead of
I
venting.
would have.
Or you could have gone to her.
But
You
I
could have
didn't
gone
want
to
to,
her.
because if I had gone to her, she would have still be angry.
But like what she's what?
I got relief from doing that.
Yes. So your journal is actually private to you, really, and then you can write it in. I have a colleague who is a coach. So whenever there was a time she wasn't clear about what she wanted to do, and it had reflected on her handwriting. So she would just be writing and writing. Then after some time, her handwriting became clearer, and she got clarity. So it's very powerful. So keep your journal to yourself, or write it in shorthand. Yes. Any other?
Addition, subtraction, questions.
Okay, somebody. And you can also journal in journalism. You can journal also.
Writing what people do for us now.
Not what people.
Okay, what made us angry? But if I need to, what needs to that might be what people do for us. But maybe someone offend us and we reacted and we put it down. When we sit back, catching on to the segment.
Don't get it wrong, go. I'm not saying journal what people did to you. Do you understand? I'm not saying journal what you should be brave enough and courageous enough to step up to somebody that offends you in a nice way. And if that person doesn't say, don't wait for sorry, if you wait for sorry, that's another problem. Whether the person says sorry or not, you expect, but do what works for you, like you said. But again, the purpose Also, journaling is not about the other person. It's about you. It's not about the other person. Because you cannot control what the other person will do or not do. Do you understand? So it's not about that. If somebody offends you, forgive the person. Forgive ahead. Forgive ahead. That's the fact. So journaling is for you, for your own mental health. Not keep a record of wrongs. 21st of January 1984, Mrs. A annoyed me when I was writing my lesson notes. You write it down. Then after that, Mr. P now came and told me that look at my head. You write it down. That's all I'm talking about. I'm talking about journaling, your own life. Okay, any other? Okay, do we have any other question? I think we have any other contribution.